In this teaching material, you will learn about the recommended daily calorie intake and nutrient balance. What do you usually focus on in your diet? This may differ depending on the person, such as calorie intake, nutrients, food expenses, and ease of use. Some people may think it's okay if they eat something. Let's get acquainted with the meals that are often eaten by some common sense. First, let us talk about one's energy requirement for the day. Energy requirements depend on basal metabolism, the minimum energy required for vital activities even at rest, and physical activity level. Basal metabolism differs depending on one's age and gender, and it decreases with age. Energy requirement is the sum of the basal metabolic rate required while sleeping and the energy required for various physical activities. You need a standard way to get an estimate of your daily calorie intake. BMI is often used internationally to evaluate one's physique. BMI is the number obtained by dividing the weight by the square of the height. Based on 22, it is assumed that if it is 25 or more, the person is overweight, and if it is less than 18.5, they are too thin. Try to calculate your BMI. Let us calculate. Calculate your energy requirements. The standard weight is calculated from the height, and the calculated basal metabolic rate is multiplied by a coefficient according to the physical activity level to obtain the daily energy requirement. Ideally, it should be taken over 3 meals, but college students have been found to have a high rate of skipping breakfast. However, this does not have to be a hassle. Try to eat breakfast as much as possible. If you want to lose more weight, you can calculate the daily energy requirement using the target weight. However, it is better to gradually lose weight over time based on BMI 20 to 22. It is difficult to do so. Thus, we recommend that you exercise together with dieting. According to the College Student Health White Paper, 2021, while some students are obese with a BMI of 25 or above, others are even leaner, which is also a problem. Obesity may lead to future lifestyle diseases, hypertension, diabetes, dyslipidemia, etc., which cause systemic arteriosclerosis and cardiovascular diseases such as myocardial infarction, angina pectoris, and cerebral infarction. It's an increased risk of developing the disease. Lifestyle-related diseases and cardiovascular diseases are greatly influenced by lifestyle-related habits that evolve over decades before the onset. Sarcopenia, a condition in which muscle weakness and physical function are reduced due to decreased muscle mass, may arise out of being too thin. It occurs not only in older adults but also in young people. It increases the risk of bone density loss and osteoporosis. Additionally, in women, being too thin can cause menstrual disorders, and it can take a long time to balance female hormones. Moving forward, I will talk about the balance of nutrients. The 3 major nutrients required by the body are carbohydrates, proteins, and fats, and the breakdown of total daily energy is 50 to 65% for carbohydrates, 13 to 20% for proteins, and 20 to 30% for fats. Some people limit their carbohydrate intake when they are on a diet, but extreme carbohydrates are not recommended as they increase the proportion of lipids in total daily energy. Try to get at least 50% of your total energy from carbohydrates. Restricting sugar intake that reduces carbohydrates in the meal is acceptable. Japanese people tend to have a higher salt intake than those in Europe and the United States. The daily salt intake target is 7.5 grams for men and 6.5 grams for women. Moreover, the Japanese diet is deficient in dietary fiber and calcium. According to the National Health and Nutrition Survey, first year of RIWA, conducted by the Ministry of Health, Labor and Welfare every year, the salt intake is as high as about 10 grams, and the calcium intake is not sufficient. Calcium is found in milk and dairy products. However, some vegetables also contain high calcium, so be sure to include them in your diet. For preparing the vegetables, we recommend stir-frying, boiling, or simmering them. You can include snacks and alcohol in your diet, but be concerned about overconsumption. Consider balancing the calories in your diet for a week. For instance, eat modestly in the next few days, after having eaten a lot of snacks for a few days. Now, let us discuss some of the professional views on college students' experiences with food. If you do not want to get fat, choose only low-calorie foods. When the energy supply falls below the demand and starvation continues, glycogen, fat, and muscle stored in the body are decomposed and used as energy. As a result, you lose muscle, and your basal metabolism declines, making it hard to lose weight. This is not to say that you should eat only one meal because, unlike in high school, you rarely exercise. Rather, for the same calorie intake, the more often you eat, the less likely you are to gain weight. If you say, I want to build muscle, so my diet includes mainly protein drinks, know that the energy source for muscles during exercise is sugar, glycogen in the muscle, and not protein. It is advisable to obtain sugar and protein from your diet and then add additional protein drinks, if required. Some people say, I do not eat vegetables, but I am drinking vitamin C and vegetable juice, so it is okay. However, drinking vegetable juice is not the same as eating vegetables. Vitamins, dietary fiber, and enzymes are easily lost while manufacturing juice. In contrast, heat generated from cooking makes the vegetables easily digestible. Vegetable juice supplements the lack of vegetables in the diet, so take about 1 bottle, 1 to 2 glasses, a day. Some of them are high in fructose and some have added sugar, so check the contents carefully before consuming. To avoid wasting time, I eat quickly while doing something else. This tends to make people less aware of the amount of food they have eaten, which can easily cause overeating. It takes approximately 15 to 20 minutes for the stimulus to reach the satiety center of the brain, hypothalamus. In addition, many people may eat only instant foods because they are easily available and cheap. However, this may lead to problems such as excessive intake of salt and fat, lack of calcium, vitamins and iron, and decreased chewing. To get proper nutrients, it is best to eat dishes which are prepared using various ingredients. Thus far, you have learned the basics of eating. Based on your age, the basal metabolic rate and activity can help determine your calorie intake requirements. Try to get the nutrients you need from multiple meals daily. Supplements address nutrient deficiency. College students tend to eat out a lot. However, they should be aware of the calorie intake, nutrient balance, and salt content of the food.